The Clockmaker's Daughter, the house that kept secrets. Birchwood Manor stood on the banks of the upper Thames like a forgotten relic, its twin gables cutting through the mist, its ivy-choked walls whispering secrets in the wind. It had been abandoned for decades, yet the house was not empty. It never had been. Elodie Winslow had never been to Birchwood Manor, but the moment she saw the sketch of it in an old, crumbling satchel, something deep inside her twisted with recognition. There was also a photograph of a Victorian woman, her pale face frozen in time, her dark eyes piercing as though she could still see. Something about the picture unsettled her. It was not just the eerie stillness of the woman's expression, it was the sense that she was waiting, watching. In the summer of 1862, a group of young artists arrived at Birchwood Manor, seeking a sanctuary for their creative souls. Edward Radcliffe, a rising star in the art world, led them, bringing with him his muse and secret lover, Bertie Bell, the clockmaker's daughter. The manor should have been a haven, but from the moment they arrived, something felt off. Doors creaked when no one was near them. Shadows stretched where there should have been none. The grand clock in the entrance hall, silent for decades, suddenly began ticking in the middle of the night, each heavy thud echoing through the house like a heartbeat. At first, the artists dismissed the odd occurrences as figments of their overactive imaginations. But Bertie knew better. She had felt something the first time she stepped inside. Birchwood Manor, an invisible gaze, lingering on the back of her neck, cold fingers brushing against her skin when no one was there. She had spent nights staring into the darkness, certain she was not alone. Then, one night, a blood-curdling scream shattered the stillness. The next morning, a woman lay dead in the drawing room, a single gunshot wound in her chest. Another woman, Bertie, had vanished without a trace, and the priceless Radcliffe blue diamond had disappeared. The artists fled. Edward Radcliffe was never the same again. The house was left to rot, its windows dark, its secrets buried. But Birchwood Manor was not empty. It had never been empty. Years passed, decades, and yet those who dared to step foot in Birchwood Manor always spoke of the same things. The overwhelming sense of being watched, the suffocating feeling of not being alone. Visitors reported seeing a woman standing at the window of the upper floor, pale, motionless, her dark eyes following them as they walked past the house. At night, a soft, melodic humming could be heard drifting through the corridors, like a lullaby from the grave. And sometimes, in the still hours before dawn, the heavy ticking of the long-dead clock would start again, as if marking the passage of a time long forgotten. No one stayed in the house for long. No one could. In 2017, Elodie Winslow found herself drawn deeper into the enigma of Birchwood Manor. The more she uncovered, the more her dreams became restless, filled with flickering candlelight, the sound of soft footsteps following her, the sensation of ice-cold fingers brushing her cheek. She decided to visit the manor. The house was as she had imagined it, aged, brooding, its walls sagging under the weight of its history. But the moment she stepped inside, she felt it. The air was thick with dust, yet it felt alive. As she explored, the house seemed to shift around her. The grandfather clock, broken for over a century, let out a deep, resonant thud. Elodie turned sharply, her breath catching in her throat. Then the whisper came. It was soft, almost affectionate, but undeniably chilling. "You finally came back." Elodie's blood turned to ice. She wasn't alone. Shadows flickered along the walls, moving even though the candlelight remained still. The floorboards creaked behind her, but when she turned, no one was there. Then the photograph she had found in the satchel, the one of the Victorian woman, slipped from her bag. It landed face up, staring at her. And in that moment, Elodie understood. The woman in the picture was Bertie Bell. She had never left Birchwood Manor, and now neither would Elodie.